What's going on YouTube? My name is Tapnuo, and I'm a techno artist from Los Angeles. Today I'll be doing a breakdown of a specific section of a new track with 92 Jaylani. This one is called Closed Forest. And I wanted to do this because I kind of touched on this subject in one of my previous videos, and then today a light bulb in my head went off and I was like, why don't I just do a video on what I was talking about? So what I was talking about in my previous video was like making lead or atmospheric rhythmic sounds from something that isn't very melodic, right? And for techno, that's great because it's a very hypnotic genre. You want stuff that becomes trippy as it is played over and over. And this track is a very swamped out, dubby kind of vibe. And so when I was making it, I wanted to find something that fit that theme. And as fans of electronic music, I think a lot of us are very into the game Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and some of the older ones specifically. And I was just thinking like, well, it has a great sounding fairy in it. And why don't I just sample that? And so what I did is I downloaded the sound of the fairy and just skimmed through the recording and trimmed out a section that I could loop, right? And loop and then just play continuously. So once I got that, I played it for the entire length of the actual track. And I ended up muting certain sections because of the arrangement. It just didn't need to be there. It comes in certain parts. But I found a loop. And then let's go ahead and hear what that sounds like, just that loop. So it's kind of dynamic. It fades in and out. And oh yeah, a quick note, for the sake of this video, I applied the Kramer, but really just to boost the volume. On the actual track, the volume is playing lower and this Kramer is not there. So I started with that. And it already sounded pretty cool as it was playing in the background of the record. So you'll see here there's some volume automation and it fades in. And then it really starts to come in on the first breakdown and it teases on the first drop of the record. And I'm very excited for all of you to hear this record because I think the way that it was implemented it's very tasteful. So it starts with that. And then the real feeling of the sound, and this is crazy. I was experimenting with different presets and going through different patterns because this plugin has tons of different patterns. And this is like one of my favorite plugins. It's the Filter Gate. It's just a stock Pro Tools plugin. And I applied that and I faded it in so the mix comes in here. And let's just listen to see what that does. It just gave it this crazy bounce, this rhythm that fits so well with the rest of the rhythmic elements in the track. And this was one of those moments where I've talked about before, like, don't fight the flow. Like I put that on, I was experimenting with the settings and it just felt right. And I didn't really want to question it. I just was like, okay, that's it, And so from there, really just some imaging. There's an imager that comes in mainly just to correct some of the balance of left and right. And then from there as well, let's see where this EQ comes in, because I think it has some... Oh no, it doesn't have some automation. So yeah, I did bypass this for now. But yeah, let's bring that back in. So the EQ is just balancing it a little bit in the mix. And I should note, I mixed this record analog on a console. So a lot of the mix down also came from that, and boosting of things like the high end with Pultec EQs and things like that. But I did actually put the Kramer on there, and it was mainly just to boost the mids around 6K and around 10K. Well, the highs around 10K to get it to stand out more in the mix. And so from there, it's sending into a delay channel, and that activates here. So you can hear that in the background, and what that's doing is it's a lot of distortion going into a delay, and it's a preset that I've made that I use sometimes because it just sounds good on techno. And then some EQ to give it that sort of telephone effect. And then from there, a little bit of multiband compression to tame certain frequencies. So it's going into that, but then it's also going into this stereo send. And not just the fairy sound is going in there. There's a couple other things going in there. But what that is it's the micro shift. So it's like the Haas effect, essentially. And then if this will load, the Melda frequency shifter, which is a pretty cool plugin. It's a free plugin, and it's like a width kind of thing. It affects the pitch a little bit, but with pitch comes width sometimes when you're doing processing like that. And then some reverb, which is a default. It's one of the presets, and I don't really even know if I adjusted it that much. Sometimes I'll just rock with presets, just skimming through things, seeing if it sounds good. Because when I'm mixing things in the studio, I'll often adjust, like if they have like a hardware reverb, I'll try that and see how that sounds. So the mix I'm showing you on this is not the final version of anything. It's just the raw sound design I'm focusing on today. And then that's just going into an EQ. It's just cutting off all the lows because there's A, no lows in the sound, and B, all those lows are just taken up by other instruments anyways. So I can't really show you the whole track as it's not out yet, but let's see if I can play it with the kick just to see how it sounds like rhythmically. But as you can see, it's a great background type of sound, and it doesn't like distract from too many other sounds in the record when you hear the whole thing. But yeah, thanks for tuning in today. It's a very short video. I just wanted to give you guys ideas on how you can sample things from not just music. I think sampling from video games is a great way to approach making techno specifically because it's such a computer digital type of genre. And so many of us grew up playing video games. I think there's something special about sampling old video games and sounds that initially might not be familiar to the listener, but it's somewhere tucked away in their subconscious that like they do know that sound, which therefore would draw them towards the record, right? So if there's any other sampling videos or techno atmosphere videos that you would like to see me cover, please let me know. Hit me on Twitter, hit me on Instagram. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.